Welcome back, everyone. And thanks for waiting.
Can we please just get this over with?
Sure. Just a reminder to our audience that you're bringing your daughter, Hermia, before Duke Theseus to try to force her to marry Demetrius here, even though she's in love with Lysander.
Oh, good. You finally understand.
I'm not saying I understand what you're doing. I'm just laying out the facts. But is this something that Theseus can help you with? I mean, can he force Hermia to marry Demetrius?
Not exactly. He's just my last resort for asserting my power over my daughter.
Last resort.
If Hermia refuses in front of the Duke to marry Demetrius, I will beg the ancient privilege of Athens.
I'm sorry, the ancient privilege of Athens?
As she is mine, I may dispose of her.
I mean, she's your daughter, we all know that. But what do you mean you may dispose of her?
I mean, it is I, as her father, who will decide what happens to her. And either she consents to marrying Demetrius or she dies.
I'm sorry, what?
Either she agrees to marry Demetrius or she dies. And immediately, on this spot.
Oh, dear. I thought this was supposed to be a comedy. And this is what you call the ancient privilege of Athens?
That's right. The supreme rule of a father over his children, even unto death.
I'm sorry, but that sounds crazy.
You don't have that where you're from?
No, we don't. I mean, parents have a lot of say over what happens to their own children, but they certainly can't have them killed. Surely Theseus isn't going to let that happen, is he?
It's the law, Ralph. But you know what? Let's find out. We've spent enough time with you.
Can't you tell us, Ralph?
Me? No. I mean, I can't tell you or Hermia or anybody else what to do. We have this non-interference policy, right?
No, I don't mean tell us what to do. I mean those notes of yours. Don't they say what happens? You seem to know a lot already.
Yes.
Come on, if you know, just tell us.
Well, okay. I mean, I can take a look. Yes, okay, there does seem to be some information here. Egeus, you present your case pretty much as you told it to us.
Including the ancient privilege of Athens.
Yes, including that.
And?
He seems to know exactly what you're asking. And he turns to you, Hermia, and he asks, he's quick to give you some advice. He says that your father should be as a god to you. Boy, you Athenians are serious about this rule of the father stuff. He says that it's your father that composed your beauties, though certainly your mother had something to do with that as well.
No, she didn't.
I'm sorry?
You said her mother helped shape her, but that's not how it works. The mother just cooks the child, like an oven. It's the father that creates the child.
Oh dear. I think we're going to have to take a quick diversion into some basics of biology.
Can't we do that later? What else did he say?
All right. But we really should get back to that father and creation business at some point. But let's see here. Yes. So frankly, Theseus seems to have some of the same misunderstandings. He tells you, Hermia, that you are like a piece of wax that has been given shape by your father, and it's within his power to leave the figure that he's created or to disfigure it. Oh, my. He ends with something, a little more encouraging. He points out that Demetrius is a worthy gentleman. Maybe we should all focus on that at this point.
So is Lysander.
Oh, well, yes, of course. I'm sure he is.
Well, I'm pointing that out to Theseus. I want to tell Theseus that Lysander is as worthy as a gentleman as Demetrius.
Oh, yes, of course. And Theseus says, yes, Lysander is a worthy gentleman in himself. But because he has your father's support, Demetrius is worthier.
I wish my father would look at them with my eyes.
Yes, and Theseus says that you should be looking at the situation with your father's eyes. You know, that's interesting, isn't it? That we can both see the same things, Lysander and Demetrius, for example. But because we have different judgments about them, the things that we're both seeing, looking at with our own eyes, can seem completely different to each of us.
That's fascinating, Ralph. But can we get to Theseus's judgment?
I think he's waiting for an answer from Hermia.
Before I answer, I would like to know from him, and I know it's not really my place as a woman to speak up like this, but I would beseech him to tell me plainly what's the worst that may happen to me if I refuse to wed Demetrius.
Well, sure. I guess you want to hear directly from him whether your refusal will mean your death.
And...
Oh, yes. This is interesting. He says that you'll either die, as your father demands, or to refuse the company of men forever by becoming a nun, which he points out is no easy life. I mean, if you think about how badly you want to be with Lysander, life as a nun means never being around any man ever again. Theseus seems to think that that's no way for a woman to live her life.
Fine. I'd rather live and die as a nun before I would yield my virginity up to him. My soul will never consent to him having sovereignty over me.
Wait, has it been decided then?
No, not completely. Theseus wants Hermia to think about it. And by the next new moon, when Theseus and Hippolyta will be getting married themselves, actually, Hermia will have to die for disobeying her father, or marry Demetrius, or spend the rest of her life in a nunnery. Which is weird, come to think about it. Do you all have nunneries? This is ancient Athens, right?
Stop fighting it, sweet Hermia. And Lysander, stop this crazy claim of yours and yield to my certain right.
Hermia's father loves you, Demetrius. Why don't you marry him?
That's right. Demetrius has my love, and my love will give to him all that is mine, including Hermia.
This is crazy, Ralph. I'm from just as good a family as Demetrius. I have just as much money as he does. I love her more than he does. My future looks just as bright as his, if not better. And most importantly, Hermia loves me. Why shouldn't I be able to marry her?
Well, those sound like good points.
Oh, and get this. I don't care if everybody hears it, and I'll say it to his face. Demetrius was wooing Neater's daughter Helena, and he made her fall in love with him. So Helena, the poor thing, spends all of her time thinking about Demetrius. Horrible man that he is.
Oh dear. Well, that certainly complicates things.
Completely irrelevant. I think we're done here. Hermia has a decision to make, apparently, but we have to wait in the meantime.
Oh, yes. Well, Theseus has a few last words. He says he's heard about the Helena business and that he's been meaning to talk to Demetrius about that, but he's been so busy with the wedding and all. So he wants to talk to you too, Egeus and Demetrius. He says he has some private schooling for you both. I wonder what that's about. And to you, Hermia, he suggests you get used to the idea of letting your father's ideas be your ideas, or the laws of Athens will require him to yield you up to death or to a life of chastity. Oh, and he wants to talk to Egeus and Demetrius right now. Sounds like it has something to do with his wedding.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, where is he? Which way?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere. You might check the break room. But if everybody could just look out at the camera.